Hi everyone, I am Perlan Ladera Kainoy, and today I am going to discuss some important topics that are related to forensic ballistics. So first, let us define what is ballistics. It is the science that deals with the motion, behavior, and effects of projectiles, especially bullets, gravity bombs, rockets, or the like. The science or art of designing and hurling projectiles as to achieve a desired performance. A ballistic is a body which is free to move, behave, and be modified in appearance, contour, or texture by ambient conditions, substances, or forces, as by the pressure of gases in a gun, by rifling in a barrel, by gravity, by temperature, or by air particles. So now let's discuss the firearm ballistics. It is used in forensic science. Separately from ballistic information, firearm and tool mark examinations involved in analyzing firearm, ammunition, and tool mark evidence in order to establish whether a certain firearm or tool was used in a commission of the crime. Then now let's define deeply the meaning of ballistics. So it is sometimes subdivided into four: the internal ballistics, which is the study of the processes originally accelerating the projectile. For example, is the passage of a bullet through a barrel of rifle. Second is the transition ballistics. It is the study of the projectile's behavior when it leaves the barrel and the pressure behind the projectile is equalized. Third part of ballistics involved external ballistics, the study of the passage of the projectile through the space or the air. And fourth is the terminal ballistics. It is the study of the interaction of a projectile with its target, whether that be flesh for a hunting bullet, steel for an anti-tank ground, or even a furnace slug for an industrial slug disruptor. Now let's discuss another meaning of ballistics. So it is a science in a way or itself because it evolved from systematic knowledge, research and development, training, experience and education of those who pioneered in this field. So, technically speaking, it refers to the science of firearms identification, which involves the scientific examination of ballistics exhibits such as fired bullets, fired shells, firearms, and allied matters used in the commission of the crime. Legally speaking, ballistics is the microscopic examination of fired cases and bullets together with the recording and presentation by means of photography of what is revealed by the microscope. Then, now let's discuss about the exterior ballistics. Exterior ballistics deals with the motion of projectiles from time they leave the muzzle of the firearm to the time they hit the target. The flight of most bullet or projectiles does not exceed 30 seconds, which is for almost any firearms is obtained at elevation of about 33 seconds. So further, exterior or the external ballistics refers to the attributes and movements of the bullet after it has left the gun muzzle. It includes the following. So first, the muzzle blast. It is the noise created at the muzzle point of the gun due to the sudden escape of the expanding gas coming in contact with the air in the surrounding atmosphere. So second is the muzzle energy. Muzzle energy is the energy generated at the muzzle point. Third is the trajectory. It is the actual curved path of the bullet during its flight from the gun muzzle to the target. So the following are the kinds of trajectory. First is the straight horizontal line, the parabola-like, the flat and the flight vertical drop. Fourth is the range. It is the straight distance between the muzzle point and the target. The following are under range. A is the accurate or the effective range. It is the distance within the shooter has to control of his shots, meaning he can place his shots at the desired spots. B is the maximum range, the farthest distance that a projectile can be propelled from a firearm. Then, fifth is the velocity. Velocity is the rate of speed of the bullet per unit of time. Then, let us now discuss the long barrel rifle. Up to 3,000 yards accurate range and its high muzzle velocity of 1,000 to 4,000 feet per second. Bullets from rifled weapons spend at 2,000 to 3,000 revolutions per second, but over the first few yards of that trajectory, distance varies with the weapon. Their flight is slightly unstable. The end of the projectile wobbles before it picks up a smooth flight path. This phenomenon is called tail wag, and it is considered as the most important evaluating gunshot wounds. A bullet with tail wag does not strike its target clearly. So number 6 is the air resistance. Resistance encountered by the bullet while flight. Then 7 is the pull of gravity. Pull of gravity downward reaction of the bullet while in flight. The number 8 is the penetration. It is the depth of the entry on target. So now let's proceed to terminal ballistics. It is the study dealing with the effect of the impact of the bullet on the target. Penetration of bullet is of prime interest. Penetration is important also in determining safety requirements for target backstabs. They are important to both sportsmen and military. Terminal ballistics involves the following. First is the terminal accuracy. Terminal accuracy is the size of the bullet groupings on the target. Second is the terminal energy. It is the energy of the projectile when it strikes the target. It is also known as the striking energy. Third is the terminal penetration. It is the depth of the entry of the bullet in the target. Fourth is the terminal velocity. It is the speed of the bullet upon striking the target. So now, terminal ballistics also deals with the destructive actions and effects that occur at the end of the projectile's flight as an integral and undeformed body. The flight may end in one to two ways. The first way is the projectile may strike a solid obstruction, or the second way, its metal case may be broken by the expulsion of a bursting charge. So now, let's proceed to ballistics theory. Ballistic is the scientific study of propulsion and motion of projectiles, such as bullets, artillery shells, rockets, guided missiles, and guided missiles. Also, it includes the study of the destructive action of such projectiles. The drag of projectile moving head in is now usually divided into three parts. First is the bow resistance. Due to the air pressure at the head of the projectile. Second is the skin friction. It is caused by the friction of air moving along the middle portion of the body. And third is the base drag, due to the under pressure and disturbance of the air behind the base. So, the following are the pioneers in the study of force and projectiles. First is Galileo Newton and Leibniz. Established the principles of dynamics and methods of calculus, studies which helped the rapid development of external ballistics. Second is Galileo and Newton were both interested in the force called air resistance, now usually called aerodynamic drag, which reduces the speed of a projectile. Third, in 1707, Cassini, an astronomer, suggested measuring firearms muzzle velocity. So, it is the study of motion of projectiles within the gun barrel. The time during which the projectile is influenced by interior ballistics is very short. From the release of the firing pin to the moment the sound of the shot can be heard as it leaves the muzzle occupies only about 0.0 seconds in a modern rifle. Then, accordingly, interior ballistics involves the following. So, first, the following technique or the following kinds. First is the ignition of the primer. Second, flames is produced. Third is the combustion of gunpowder. Fourth is the energy that is generated. Fifth is the force or pressure was being developed. Sixth is the velocity of the bullet or from the chamber to the muzzle. 7 is the rotation of the bullet. Then lastly, number 8 is the engraving of the cylindrical surface of the bullet. So now, let's proceed with the interior ballistics. It deals with the temperature, volume, and pressure of the gases resulting from combustion of the propellant charge in the gun. It also deals with the work performed by the expansion of these gases on the gun, its cartridge, the projectile. Some of the critical elements involved in the study of interior ballistics are the relationship of the weight of the charge to the weight of the projectile, the length of the bore, the optimum size, shape, and the density of the propellant grains for a different guns, and the related problems of the maximum and minimum muzzle pressures. Then, let us add some information or note. Let's note the following. The British engineer Benjamin Rubens conducted many experiments in interior ballistics. His findings justly entitled him to be called the father of modern gunnery. So, let us highlight that. Then, in the late 18th century, the Anglo-American physicist Benjamin Thompson made the first attempt to measure the pressure generated by gunpowder. The account of his experiments was the most important contribution of interior ballistics that have been made up to that time. About 1760, French ballisticians determined the relationship of muzzle velocity to the length of the barrel by measuring the velocity of a musket ball and cutting off a portion of the barrel before taking the velocity of the next shot. By using the results of these experiments and advances in chemistry and thermodynamics, ballisticians developed formulas showing the relationship between muzzle velocity and weight and shape of projectile, weight, type, and grain size of the powder charge, pressure and temperature of the barrel, and the size of the powder chamber and the length of the barrel. So, the followings are the related terms in interior ballistics. First, let us define what is action. So, action is the term referring to mechanism of a firearm. Second is the burning rate. It is an arbitrary index of the quickness that burning propellant changes into gas. Burning rate is controlled by the chemical composition, the size and shape of the propellant grains, and the pressure of which the burning takes place. IMR 5010 powder is very slow burning and bullseye is fast burning. Third is the bulk density, the ratio of the weight of a given volume of powder versus the weight of the same volume of water. Fourth is the chamber pressure. It is the pressure generated within the chamber erroneously called breech pressure. Then number 5 is the charge weight to bullet weight ratio. This is the ratio of the weight of the powder charge of the weight to the projectile. Then number 6 is the detonation. So detonation is the chemical rearrangement of molecules into gas instead of solids to cause the high explosives to exert full power of shock. The speed of detonation varies in different explosives, but in some, it is as high as 7,000 yards in seconds. So, number 7 is the energy. Energy is the measured in foot-pounds, and 1 foot-pound means that amount of energy, which would be capable of lifting a weight of 1 pound through a distance of 1 foot, 1 drop block action, the type of action in which the breech block rises and forced vertically in cuts in the receiver side walls. Lever actuated as a rule. Number 8 is the expansion ratio. It is the ratio of the capacity of the powder chamber plus bore or in grains of water to the capacity of the powder chamber or in grains of water too. Number 9 is the foot-pound. It is the amount of work required to raise 1 pound of foot high against the force of gravity. Number 10 is the foot-second. It is the velocity expressed in foot per second. Number 11 is gas. Gas is a fluid resulting from the combustion of gunpowder with a relatively great expansion and a spontaneous tendency. Number 12 is hang fire. Hang fire occurs when a cartridge fails to explode on time or delayed in firing. Number 13 is the knocking power. It is the power of the bullet which delivers a very heavy paralyzing blow that put the victim down and may then recover, if the wound inflicted upon is not fatal. Number 14 is the loading density. It is the ratio of the weight of the powder charge to the capacity of the powder chamber, or the case. It is usually expressed as the ratio of the charge weight to the capacity of the powder chamber in grains of water. So, generally, the more fully the powder charge fills the case, the more consistent and accurate the load will be. On the other hand, if the loading density is too low or too much free space in the case, it can cause erratic ignition, change in the pressure curve, or moving the peak towards the muzzle, or even overly rapid burning or the detonation of the power charge. One reason manuals is list minimum or starting loads. Then lastly is the misfire. It is a total failure of a cartridge to discharge. This is different from hang fire, which merely a delayed combustion, while misfire is a complete failure aimed to start combustion. So I think that's the topic that covered to my discussion. Thank you for listening.